Hi, I'm Steve Yates, and I'm the author of Morkan's Quarry, a novel. It came out from Moon City Press in 2010, and I think it was the first novel that Moon City Press ever published. For me, it was a real breakthrough. I'd gone through two New York agents, and um, some of the editors who wrote me back said that we like this a great deal, but we think it would start with a lot of marketing in the Ozarks, and we don't know how to do that, or we don't feel like we can do that. It was a real prayer answered when Moon City Press came along and expressed interest in the project. And from there, so many doors opened for me. I'm just so appreciative of Moon City Press. I published 5 books from 2010 until 2017. The last one was The Legend of the Albino Farm from Unbridled Books, and Moon City Press also published the sequel to this novel, The Teeth of the Souls. I'm going to read from a part of it that is late in the book, but I don't think it needs a lot of explanation. This is a father and son story set during the Civil War in Springfield, Missouri, and the Morkans happen to own a lime quarry and kiln in downtown Springfield, Missouri. And the part of this book, the son is traveling from Springfield to St. Louis to Gratiot Prison because he believes that he can get his father, Michael Morkan, out of Gratiot before Michael dies of consumption in the prison. So this is just a little travel journey piece when they're on the way to St. Louis from Springfield. When the clouds broke, the sun made the forest and road steam. In the heat, they rode with their coats stowed and their tunics undone. Cyrus Browning pressed his horse to keep even with Leighton Morkan and with the wagon. His eyes scoured the woods ahead. If guerrillas find us, you let me do the talking. I bluffed my way out of many a tight one. Cyrus rode with his back straight and a gloved hand planted on his fat thigh. If you get us killed, how am I to get restitution from you? Leighton asked. Glaring, Cyrus nudged his mount ahead of the wagon. That afternoon they were fording a creek when a dozen horsemen came stepping down the creek bed. They wore federal coats, but their hair was long and ragged, their beards unkempt. They bristled with pistols and knives. Leighton halted the wagon, and Corey and Cyrus moved their horses next to him. One of the horsemen edged his mount forward and peered into the wagon bed. Leighton noticed 2 bullet holes in the chest of the horseman's federal tunic, shots that would have killed him. He wore captain's bars. What you been hauling? The captain's eyes were gray and so level and lifeless they might have been ingots of solder. Lime, Captain, Leighton said. The captain glanced at Cyrus, then at Corey. What for? Cyrus was about to speak, but Leighton spoke first. For the dead, sir. The captain ran his thumb along his bottom lip. Behind him, his men shifted in their saddles. Which dead? We buried both, sir. Sitting back, the captain looked to his cohorts. What about them? He nodded at Leighton and Corey and Cyrus. The shortest of the riders spat brown tobacco juice in a drop so quick Leighton almost missed it. Skilp them. Oh, shit, said another. The captain held up a hand. You're a federal home guard, ain't you? Cyrus Browning moved in the saddle, its leather creaking. Corey, too, shifted. Along the horseman's tack were draped hemp necklaces bearing tufts of hair and grayed flesh, a Negro's thumb, a small ear, still pale, on which there hung a delicate golden hoop and the blue flash of its diamond singlet. I am a federal home guard because I had to be. My father is Michael Morkan, the man who gave General Price black powder from his quarry. Leighton pictured in his mind a gar moving through the darkest hole of water. The captain stroked his chin. And where are you going with an empty wagon? Cyrus sat up straight in the saddle, placed his gloved hand on his thigh. We too captured this wagon and him as a teamster, and we're going to find Captain William Clark and his unit. The woods were so quiet that when the wind stirred, it blew a heavy drop down from the oaks, popping the leaves as if a bullet were skipping through them. A few of the horsemen jumped at this, then steadied. They turned their eyes on Cyrus. We wear these uniforms only as a safeguard against Yankees, Cyrus said. The captain scanned the faces of his men, faces that gave no hint of their intentions. Grimy skin, unblinking eyes. Captain Clark requested a wagon? Anything for the cause, Cyrus said. Leighton saw Quarry shiver. Parting his coat at the waist, the captain casually drew a knife and stepped his horse over to Cyrus Browning. The knife shimmered blue, but the captain kept his eyes on Leighton. Master Morkan, why is this here fellow lying to me? He put the knife beneath Cyrus's chin. When his horse stamped, the blade's tip lifted the fat beneath Cyrus's beard. How can you tell he is? Leighton asked. A few of the horsemen narrowed their eyes at Leighton. One grinned, his teeth as brown and filthy as an old hound's. From the tip of the knife, a streak of blood scurried down the blade. Cyrus's eyes danced. The captain paid this no attention, his gray eyes glimmering for a moment on Leighton. You tell me how lucky it would be for a fat fool like this to swipe a pair of pants that fits him just right. Am I lying to you? Leighton asked. The slightest grin broke the captain's face, and he removed the knife from Cyrus's neck. In a flash, his horsemen in the front rank all had revolvers drawn and cocked. Their attentions seemed focused on Cyrus. The captain moved his horse until he was within inches of Leighton. He looked down on him. Where are you going with an empty wagon and two trembling Yankee cowards for company? I'm going to bargain for my father to get him out of Gratiot before he dies of consumption. The captain regarded Leighton for a bit, then raised his eyebrows at his men. Their faces showed no hint of any leaning. For the true word of an honorable man, bravely given in the face of sure death and disaster. The captain paused and methodically wiped his blade against his breeches. I normally wouldn't give a squirt of piss in a hand sieve. He replaced his knife in its scabbard. His men began to grin. The short one bounced in the saddle as if something delightful were about to begin. But this afternoon, I am filled with a spirit akin with the afflicted, with the put upon, the captain said. He swung his horse to move in rank with his men. Gentlemen, he bowed in the saddle, I give you your lives. Oh, shit, one of his men said. They turned their horses and proceeded down the stream. Cyrus turned stiffly in the saddle, the water dancing yellow bands of light across his sweat-soaked back. He watched the riders disappear, his chest jerking and falling. At his collar, sweat and blood made a chain of red. Mr. Browning, you all right? Leighton asked. Blinking, Cyrus nodded. Can I trust that you will be a better performer when we reach Gratiot? Cyrus's face fell and reddened. I don't mean to shame you, Leighton said. I just want to know. I'll be fine. Thanks for listening. And I'm really glad that Moon City Press is doing this really interesting project in this trying time. Hope you all stay home and stay healthy. Thanks.